Hello YouTube, Salivate Metal here, and what an exciting past few days this has been. For buyers out there, this is some great news that gold and silver have taken quite a beating here in the markets, and especially over the past few days, we've seen gold take quite a little flash crash, and now silver this morning or late last evening do the same thing. And both have made some recoveries from those crashes, but the recoveries have been lower than the prior. So there's definitely some interesting and fascinating things to see here. And given the predictions that were made almost a month ago by Andrew Maguire, that did not come true in the timing that he so specifically laid out, it's quite an interesting thing to see. He has since revised his estimates with a 48-hour notice, meaning that he will let us know 48 hours in advance when this massive buying is going to be occurring by these central banks of the physical. And so, you know, it's anybody's guess, really. And of course, I've heard different things in the comment sections of prior videos about, well, he's gotten more things wrong than right, and others that say he is a trusted source. So with that being said, you know, for those of us who really, I find this thing kind of fascinating to see these predictions and different analysis, because there's so many different factors that come into play with the precious metals. But the reality is here, and the precious metal prices are low all around. You know, gold has closed at 1213.20, silver at 1567, and platinum at 911. And palladium is getting closer. It's actually raised up a little bit, and it's at 844. And there's a person on here named Angel P Music who has commented on several things, and he's been right for the times that he's posted. I think there may be one or two where he got it off a little bit, but there's this resistance, and whenever these prices go below the resistance, then that's where you get into trouble, so to speak, because he's saying that gold and silver broke through the resistance and will be at this level for a while, so these prices will be lower for a while. Now, I did make some predictions, mainly in comment sections of prior videos in times past, where I thought that the precious metals, we'd never see silver, at least for a very long time, go below $16. I may have even said $16.50. But nonetheless, that was wrong. Look at today. You know, it's below. Gold is still resisting. I didn't think it would go below 1,200 back then. Now, I'm not so sure. It very well could continue to fall. I kind of hope it does as a buyer. But for those who are wanting to sell, you know, this is bad news, and certainly is unfortunate for those who want the precious metals to stay up for a while. But nonetheless, the reason for the prices being as low as they are, at least in part, we'll talk about manipulation in a minute, but it's basically due to a 4-month low after the solid U.S. jobs report. So kind of look at this article here. Gold prices dropped to the lowest finish in about 4 months on Friday, adding to weekly loss as a relatively solid job number snapshot for June backed expectations for higher U.S. interest rates this year. So there, August gold dropped 1360 or 1.1% to sell at 1209 an ounce. That settlement was the lowest since mid-March, according to FactSet data. Prices ended down 2.6% for the week to log a 5th straight weekly decline. So silver prices briefly tumbled in Friday's Asian trading session, with futures plunging nearly 10%, likely due to trading error, before quickly reversing most of that decline. Interestingly, they talk about it as a trading error. So September silver lost 55.8 cents, or 3.5%, to end at $15.42 an ounce after an earlier low at $14.34. So very interesting indeed. The gold and silver prices have us all on tenterhooks, while their direction forward remains to be confirmed, said Julian Phillips, co-founder of Gold Forecaster. Some believe that rate tightening will still happen and the stimuli to be dropped by the main developed world central banks, but there's always the chance that the moves could be postponed. So global financial uncertainty remains a concern in the developed world. The U.S. Federal Reserve is contemplating its efforts to normalize policy. That central bank forecasts a gradual increase in interest rate hikes and the imminent wind down of its balance sheet. The European Central Bank, meanwhile, has been signaling that it is getting ready to wind down its stimulus efforts after years of aggressive bond buying. And this article doesn't mention that I see here the geopolitical aspects, especially with North Korea. The North Korea ICBM missile launch, which was a big deal, had no effect on gold and silver prices, at least that we saw. Perhaps, there was something there that maybe would have dropped even further if the missile launch had not occurred. But I kind of doubt it. I think it's another missile test, just like the terrorist attacks that seem to be happening, once every month or so. It seems like these missile launches by North Korea have been commonplace, although this one was a big deal. But I think that's how the markets are seeing it. They don't realize they don't care about the overall ramifications, especially after Mad Dog Mattis, our Secretary of Defense, said that war is definitely not imminent and that there are other diplomatic options that need to be exhausted. So with that being said, looking at silver and manipulation. This article from Goldseek talks about silver prices bounce higher after futures are manipulated 7% lower in 1 minute. So it's hammered 7% lower in less than a minute in Asian trading. And they're saying that it's because of the trading errors. And so these trading errors, they mark here saying that they always push gold and silver lower. Why never higher? Flash crashes increasingly frequent in precious metals, yet rarely happen in stocks and bonds. Rapid recovery from frequent raids bodes well for precious metals. Silver coins and bars accumulated on dips by stackers. And so here you see that flash crash in this graph here, and you can see that it is taken quite a dip there. And here it is in another graph representation here. So the flash crash, and that's a good point. They never seem to, these trading errors, so they call them, never tend to help to push them higher for some strange reason. But there may be a legitimate reason for it, perhaps, but I just don't know what it is. This article suggests that they are low because of manipulation. So in a repeat of what happened to gold last week, a bout of massive selling hammered silver prices lower momentarily. Having hit an early session of $16.18 an ounce, the spot price fell from $16 to $14.82 in less than a minute. The price recovered as quickly as it crashed, rebounding to $15.89. But of course, it ended lower and it ended trading today. So there it is. And it just goes to show you that no one can really truly predict where the prices are going. Because there's so many different factors involved, and even Angel Music admits as such. But it sounds like that he's got an inside scoop and knows what's going on behind the scenes and can predict under normal trading circumstances. I say that in quotes because there's so many different factors. He probably didn't foresee this little flash crash, and Andrew Maguire, giving him the benefit of the doubt, he may not have seen some of these flash crashes and or where some of the economic indicators could be or what have you, and that obviously if the central banks want to make a large purchase, they're going to wait until they comfortably know it's going to be as low as it's going to go. So maybe there was some foreshadowing of forecasting that they knew there. But anyways, so there you have it. So post your thoughts about this situation. The gold and silver smashed down, it looks like here, at the end of trading. I'd like to extend the multitude of gratitude you all for watching and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.